Oprah Winfrey has established quite a reputation for herself, and it's not only because of her sterling TV hosting skills or her guts to confront the big celebs with the toughest questions that other broadcasters often feel afraid to ask. In actuality, Oprah Winfrey might be considered the queen bee of hosting. It's difficult to imagine that one of Hollywood's top stars would not want to even breathe the same air as her, given the big names she has crossed paths with and the celebrities clamoring to come on her show. Yes, that's right, there's a big name who has had a beef with Oprah for years now, and it's none other than Angelina Jolie. Her wrath toward Oprah Winfrey initially appeared to come from a place of betrayal, but that may not be the case, as everyone assumed. Fans have been scrutinizing Oprah's legacy, particularly the girls' school she founded in South Africa. Her attempt at philanthropy has resulted in several incidents at her school, including teachers sexually assaulting pupils and a baby being discovered in a dumpster. Worst of all, the media tries to hide everything. Who is responsible for these atrocities? And is this the reason Angelina Jolie declined to collaborate with Oprah? Was she alerting the public all along? Or was she just upset that Oprah had, at the time, defended her ex-husband's ex-wife? Oh my god, it makes me want to throw up. She shot her mouth off and Oprah took it all in. The audience took it all in. They were all against Brad and me from that moment on. She wanted people to feel sorry for her that her marriage was down the pan. Brad and I couldn't defend ourselves. Tanya Hart, a close friend of Angelina Jolie, reportedly stated that Angelina believed that Jennifer was exploiting her split from Brad Pitt for sympathy and that Oprah was providing her with a platform to do so. If Tanya's comments are to be believed, Angelina swore she would never work with Oprah again because she felt so betrayed, and she supposedly turned Oprah down when she was asked to sit on her renowned sofa. I worked with him when I was young. If you get yourself a room, you think he attempted but didn't, right? The truth is that attempt and experience of the attempt is an assault. At the beginning of her career, Ange collaborated with Weinstein. Thus, she ought to be an expert on this topic, right? She further admitted that she had previously turned down a part in a production because of the scandalous producer's participation. At this point, you really can't blame her for not wanting to work with Oprah because, as she once stated, ladies shouldn't downplay the producer's attempt. And Oprah did so with disregard for the victims. Angelina claims that she narrowly escaped Harvey's attempt to rape her and has avoided him ever since the terrible incident. As a result, she claims that she did not even appear astonished when she heard that Harvey Weinstein was accused of sexually assaulting women he worked with. In an interview, Angelina acknowledged that after parting ways with the producer, she had informed others about him and even requested her first husband, Lee Miller, to spread the word to other guys. Well, I guess Oprah did not get the warning. She must have been in the musical when the warning was being issued or something, because guess what she did? If you guessed got all buddy-buddy with the indicted sexual assaulter, then you are right. When asked about the whole Harvey Weinstein issue on CBS Mornings, she said,
I think that this is, I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, whatever is the silver lining. And this is what I do know for sure. When something this major happens, when you have the fallout, 50 women coming forward, that it's a watershed moment.
In this interview, Oprah Winfrey discussed everything but the topics that were posed to her. For a TV host who is skilled at pressing an interviewee for details, she sure knows how to deflect inquiries. What exactly was she attempting to conceal, since she claimed that she was unaware of Weinstein's character before his public scandal? It almost seemed like she was trying to divert attention away from Harvey's immoral deed, and that certainly says a lot. In the same interview, she even added, "If we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, we will have lost this moment." Did Oprah miss the fact that her friend Harvey's illegal activity was a hot topic? Or was she merely attempting to minimize the entire affair, as she did with her girls' school, which, by the way, may have been the cause of Angelina Jolie's conflict with Oprah?
You know, parents often always think that it's going to be some horrible, terrible thing. If the molester is any good, he makes the child feel that the child is a part of it. Otherwise, it can't continue. Otherwise, if it's painful or if it's uncomfortable.
I find it difficult to believe she stated that. However, she truly spoke those words. Who let this woman build a school again? It's no longer surprising that Angelina would reject such charitable work. And how, in light of all the controversies it has endured, is that school still open? What is happening in the world today? It certainly seemed like a good idea when she delivered her speech about how educating a woman means educating the nation's face. However, in contrast to the rest of the world, Angelina was not deceived by her words, and in light of everything that has gone wrong at that institution, we are glad that, reportedly, Ange declined her offer. Despite the allegations that she was only upset with Oprah because she supported Jennifer Aniston, we've started to believe that Oprah actually puts in more effort than the devil. She's working graveyard shifts. You have been found guilty of physical contact of a sexual nature with another pupil on campus, harassment, and bullying other girls on campus, and of being dishonest by not telling investigators the whole truth. 2009 saw the suspension of a student from Oprah's elite girls' school who had been discovered fondling other students and even lying about it. However, this was not the whole story. According to African Sunday, there appeared to be a lesbian liaison taking place in the school. If you believe it was the only sexual scandal the school had to deal with, you couldn't be more mistaken. A year before the girl's expulsion, there was another incident, but this time it involved a dorm matron and the pupils. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Females experienced a sexual controversy 10 months after it first started operating in 2007. Tiny Virginia Macopo, the resident director, was accused of abusing 13 different girls, including indecent assault and criminal injury committed against at least 6 students, aged 13, 15, and even a 23-year-old. You would think with all of these cases something would be done to at least curb issues like this from arising, but you couldn't be more wrong. Yes, the girl gave birth to the baby at the school, but we can't confirm what happened to it. A case of concealment of death is being investigated. The 17-year-old was only discovered after she was taken to the hospital, bleeding and carrying a dead baby in her suitcase. Despite this, she was not found guilty of any crime. The police officers looking into the matter stated that they were unable to determine whether the child's death was the result of foul play. The spokeswoman for her school also stated that they were unable to issue a statement regarding the case. If the children and parents hadn't complained about how the school is operated, one of the students would have even fled the building. It would have just been written off as an instance of poor administration. But at some point, it becomes challenging to ignore the coincidences in everything. It was a nightmare. We had only 2 hours to see my child. Surely this isn't a prison or an institution. This raises the question of what actually occurs within those schools' four walls. Winfrey claimed that the school had no desire to interfere with the girls' relationships with their families, but in reality, she was doing just that. One mother even commented that Michelle calls me in tears sometimes. And while all of these cases might have been overlooked in some multiverse as some kind of case of school mismanagement, the talk show queen always managed to get herself with some of the most eyebrow-raising people. Like John of God. Have you heard of John of God? My visit with him is next week. Really fascinating. Curious as to why no one ever suspected John of God before the Oprah broadcast gave him a lot of notoriety. I gather that he called himself the spiritual surgeon. Oprah tremendously marketed João de Deus, or John of God, through her show as she sat with him for one of her talk shows, only for him to subsequently come out as a sex offender years later. He was even accused of raping a Dutch choreographer and forcing her to masturbate during separate sessions. She wasn't the only one either, as over 300 women came forward to accuse John of God of the same offense after he handed himself to the Brazilian civil police. You could be thinking that this is not her fault, but years before she conducted the "Do You Believe in Miracles" interview with him, he had previously come under suspicion of participating in sexual assault. Why, then, did Oprah think it would be fantastic to interview him, knowing full well that she had the audience, and that it would only help the self-proclaimed healer gain popularity? As for Oprah, she had this to say when the issue came to light, because nothing can be kept from the public gaze forever. I empathize with the women now coming forward and hope justice is served. It eventually stops being a coincidence because she constantly seems to be connected to people who have a history of abusing children and trafficking people while denying any knowledge of it. John of God, the Clintons, Harvey Weinstein, and Epstein. You've got to admit that it's odd how she always finds a way to escape when everything is exposed. Is all of this real, or is it just unfortunate timing? Or is it just that she lacks good character judgment? Additionally, in light of a more recent incident involving Oprah's school, online users are speculating as to why Angelina first declined to collaborate with Winfrey. You see, a rumor about the whereabouts of the girls from Oprah's school has recently gained traction on TikTok. Some people assert that students have unexplainably vanished from the school. Of course, this is a cause for concern, but Oprah hasn't brought it up. She sure is taking her time to address it, especially given that this is not the first issue to affect the school. Although we have no way of knowing which of these allegations are accurate, it begs the question of why and how she keeps associating with dubious figures in the business. Anyway, what do you think? Do you believe that Angelina had the foresight to decline Oprah's offer because of it? Are all these events really coincidences? After all, how many coincidences is one person capable of having? I'd like to hear your opinions, so please leave them below in the comments.